How can you tell if it's a dream or if it's real when the horrors are still there when you awake? Hi, my name is Shar, and this is the And Other Stories podcast, where I tell stories of the supernatural and criminal, both real and fictional. Works of fiction written by me. Is this a dream? No, he tried to scream as he was dragged under. Not the dream again. But the carousel music started, and the clown's laugh echoed in the darkness. He tried to look around, but it was just darkness and fog. The sounds came from all around him as he walked forward. The familiar walk he had made so many times before, like he was on a pre-written program. The carousel came into view, its broken down music playing louder, and the old horses creaking up and down, paint peeling, the expressions drawn on their faces of excruciating pain, eyes rolling and tongues protruding. He walked onto the revolving platform, holding on to the rusted poles, and his eyes scanned the moving fog. The laughter kept coming. The closer it came, the faster the carousel spun. As he knew it would, he revolved once more, and the image came into view. The giant Jack-in-the-Box, clown head grinning malevolently, bouncing and swinging forwards and backwards on a metal spring, eyes fixed directly on him, until the carousel swung him out of view. When it came back around, the Jack-in-the-Box was gone. The lights started to flicker, and his heart started to hammer, thinking about what was to come next, as it always did. The lights cut off completely, but he could still feel the wind on his face as the carousel spun faster and faster, and the clown's laugh became higher and shriller, until suddenly all sound disappeared, and all he could hear was his fast breathing. The lights flashed back on, and, in the split second of vision, he saw it. The clown peeking around the centre of the carousel, grin spreading up its face, eyes black and empty, as if it were playing a game of hide-and-seek. In the darkness that followed, he tried to run, but remembered his attempts always failed. He glanced back again just as the lights flicked on, and he saw the clown, right beside him, raising the large kitchen knife with the ivory handle, bursting into its manic laughter and bringing the knife down fast towards him. He woke up to the laughter of the kids around him. He'd fallen off of his chair, sliding his books to the floor in the process. As he clambered to his feet, the teacher started to quiet them. "Quiet, please. You all know very well it's David's narcolepsy. You're nearly adults, so can we please act like it, David's face burned as he sat back in his seat and ducked his head by his arm, looking at the desk so to not see all the stares in his direction. He hurried as quickly as he could off campus that day, trying to leave behind the crowds of kids shouting names at him, some pretending to fall asleep on their friends, then laughing. He had been like this all his life, dealt with it happening in school hundreds of times. He thought they would have got bored of it by now, or that he would be done getting embarrassed by it. He was just walking in the door of his house when he felt it again. No, not so soon, he thought, feeling groggier by the second. throwing his bag down and fumbling towards the couch. He managed to fall onto it on his face as the darkness fell once more and the music started. "No," he whispered, trailing off into the fog. The carousel, the spinning, the jack-in-the-box, he knew it all so well, but the fear never lessened. He woke up screaming as the clown slashed at him. He opened his eyes. He drew in such a gasp that pain shot through his lungs when he saw, looking over him, the head of the clown. He blinked several times, assuring himself he was awake, the familiar walls of his living room around him, but still that clown grinned down at him. He launched himself off of the couch, turning to face it as he reached the wall. But all he saw was his mum, looking at him with a confused look on her face. "You all right, love?" she asked, walking towards him. "Was it the dream again?" He scanned the room with his eyes, his heart and breathing slowing as he saw only his mother. But the clown had been there, had been so real, invading his safe world, crossing the barrier of dream and reality. That must never happen again. "Yeah, twice today," he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. "Twice?" his mum said with concern. "It's been a long time since twice in one day." "I guess schoolwork is stressing me out. I'm going to my room," he said, as he slouched past her and headed for the stairs. He was halfway up when he felt that familiar feeling once more. "Not again, no way," he slurred as he reached the top of the stairs and collapsed, the carousel music starting up. It faded in and out as his mum reached him and started to call his name. He tried to open his eyes, blinking. His mum was looking down at him, saying something, but all he heard was the carousel. He blinked again and his mum was gone, the fog and darkness replacing his surroundings. He began to walk forward, but something was different. As he walked, something came into view. His bedroom, bright and familiar, appeared through the fog. He walked into it, touching his computer, his bed covers, everything so real and detailed. He floated again towards the door, entering the fog and darkness, seeing the carousel. But instead of walking toward it, he turned and looked back. Sitting on his bed, crying, his mum looked at something in her lap. It was as if he instantly transported towards her. He suddenly stood by his bedroom window, not 3 feet from her, looking at the item in her hands. It was the knife with the ivory handle. He backed into his desk and his mum looked up sharply. Her face had changed to that of the clown's, grinning and raising the knife. He awoke screaming. His mum made soft shushing noises to him, trying to calm him. She was sat on his bed next to him where he lay. She must have dragged him to his bed when he fell asleep. The sweat ran off his brow and he gulped in air. "I'll get you some water," his mum said, her brow furrowed with worry. He started to calm. The sun came in through his window and everything smelled familiar. The sound of children playing on the street, bringing him back to reality. He sat up on his bed and almost chuckled to himself. What a day. He was definitely going to try and get a few days off school for this. No doubt his mum would try and get him back to the doctor though. That would be a bummer. He swung his legs off the bed and stretched, suddenly aware of how hungry he was. He called, "Mom," as he walked down the stairs, determined to get her to make him something to eat. He reached the kitchen and saw her busy at the counter making something, and he grinned at the sight of a sandwich being sliced. She then turned to him, smooth and stiff, her face blank. He paused and frowned, wondering what she was doing, until he saw the knife in her hand. The large silver knife with the ivory handle. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and he started to back away, the walls all turning slowly to darkness, the fog starting to gather, and the music quietly started, becoming louder and louder. As he watched, her head tipped all the way back, and when it returned, it was the grinning face of the clown, its black eyes wide. "You'll never wake up now," it shrieked, as the laughter erupted all around him, and the clown raised the knife and sped towards him. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it. My name is Shar, and this is the And Other Stories podcast. See you next time.